And let's fucking do this. We are recording on Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 at 8:34 a.m. with Dr. Donald Pleb, four-star general, former head of the DIA, future head of IARPA, current head of DARPA. You might know him from the 11.5th Mountain Division of PsyOps and also sexy beard aficionado. But we're just continuing on what we were just talking about. Yeah, no, when you first start dieting, you're gonna drop weight really fast, just the water and the shit. And then you do burn fat really quick, and then you're gonna hit it's if you don't know what it is, it looks like a plane of a plateau of demoralization. What it really is if you're working out, you're building muscle. And what always gets me as somebody that's been working out for 23, 4 years, is you always see like, science bros be like, you cannot turn fat into muscle.
Oh, shut the fuck up. That's
Correct. You
literally
can't.
what you're doing.
Correct. You can't wave a wand, but that is true in the same way of saying you cannot turn a dollar into quarters.
Right.
Correct. That is a physical piece of cotton-like paper, and those are metal coins. Those are metal circles.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can't do that, but you can. And so if you're building muscle and then dieting, your body's going to start consuming fat. There's 3,500 calories of fat, or there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. That is, if you're doing a caloric deficit of whatever, 500 a day, a pound of fat can fuel you to a full 2,000 calories if you're eating 1,500 calories per week. You absolutely can.
Yeah.
And what do you do in that week? You build muscle. So, I mean, can you turn it? No, correct. You can't turn it into muscle in the same way you can't turn a dollar into 100 pennies. You can't,
This
except
is
you can if you're not retarded.
yeah, so this is a thing I find everywhere, which is that, the most autistic, direct pedant take is the only way to get to these conclusions, right? Like back to the, you can't, and then, oh man, that's it. I'm jacked from being fat. That's not how it works, but it's energy. That's what fat
Well,
is.
that's what it is. It's energy storage, carbohydrates, fat, protein. Those are
Yeah,
your those are your three.
that's it. That's what it's there for, right?
Yeah.
And so, like in normal human times that are not being the richest country on earth, if you're getting fat, it's so that you can survive things like
Your
winter where there's no
your
food,
your
right?
body still thinks you are in Siberia or the plains of Serengeti.
Exactly. And that's
And
what it's there for, right?
your
And
body
so,
and sorry,
guess
and your
what?
body is very efficient. Not only does it store fat, it also goes, hey, this acts as a sweatshirt.
Yeah,
Cold.
yeah, exactly. And so, look, if you're fat, and oh man, by the way, in the world of things that people should know, right? Get not fat now. Okay. There, there are about 8 million reasons for this. But as long as we're discussing getting not fat, that caloric deficit thing, um, there's a thing that people don't want to hear because cardio is sucks.
L.
That's the long and the short of
I
it.
do a
Cardio
mile every
sucks.
day. I only walk
Right.
it though. I can't. I fucking hate it. I have the discipline of a Nazi on meth. I can't do cardio. I
Hey,
can't.
man, based on our first
I
discussion
was about to
ever,
say
if
it
you
was
have the
Nazis and meth.
discipline of a Nazi
Nazi
on
on meth.
meth,
But sorry,
what you need to be doing is running through Russia for
that
like 12 hours.
that is
So,
true. That is true. But but go back to caloric deficit cardio.
yeah. So, cardio has a multiplicative effect, right? And boy, is this a thing that nobody wants to hear, right? If you do cardio once, you burn your 40 calories most likely, or 40 to 500, depending on what you're doing for cardio. If you're doing cardio every single day, or at least five a week, or whatever, a serious and continuous amount, you don't end up burning just whatever it is while you're doing the cardio. You end up burning a whole bunch extra while you're just sitting on your ass doing literally nothing. Right. So you do your cardio, you come back, you watch a movie, you eat your donuts, whatever you're doing that you probably shouldn't be doing. You're still burning more calories than if you weren't doing the cardio.
Correct. And that's for a ton of reasons. I would say the most obvious would be, leg muscles and then maybe some abs for, rigidity. But that's the other thing about lifting weights. So I always tell people is, lifting weights, you're not going to burn as many calories as cardio. Cardio is more intensive, even if you just go there and do curls. But the thing about lifting weights is that's why you really got to do both is it burns muscle or it burns calories when you're not doing anything. And at first, it's not a whole lot. I always say this to people. It's like if you first start working out and your goal is to burn gasoline, let's say you got a ton of extra gasoline, which is fuel, Okay, yeah, go drive the car around. But if you're smart, you'll leave the car idling in the driveway overnight if you're trying to get
Yeah.
rid of it. And that is when you build your first ounce of muscle. They go, well, how much did you really burn idling all night? I know, I have no idea. I don't imagine a car burns that much gas idling overnight, right?
Well, yes, it does.
Okay, but
Uh,
relative to driving on the highway at 80, right?
no, but
Okay, so
look,
my
it's a seriously apt comparison
no, 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 but
insofar.
here's my point. People go, well, that's what the gains aren't that much. Okay, but here's the thing: is every year you work out, you're adding another car to the driveway, and so not only does it take now does it not only take more because now you're not driving one car on the highway, you have 10 friends, and that's
Yeah.
your 9 extra pounds muscle. You have 10 of you driving on the highway, yet you guys are burning a lot of your gas storage. Not only that though, now your 10 cars are all idling
Oh yeah.
24/7. And you can do and as go on for a decade, you get 40, 50 extra pounds. That's why when I start dieting, it's I can still eat like 2,500 calories, do nothing, and lose weight
Yeah.
because I have so much muscle. But no, but that's the point is
Oh no. So
it's yeah.
the thing about this, right? So 2,500 calories, man. So when
In
I was,
college, I would eat 3,200 calories to diet.
oh man, if so, that's exactly where I was going, right? So when I was an active duty Marine, if I wasn't eating 4,000 calories a day, I would get the shakes.
Oh yeah,
Like
straight
I
up,
was
straight
just
up.
like dying get the shakes because all you get up in the morning, you're running like 10 miles, and then right after that, you're doing like 100 pull-ups, and then right after that, you're carrying around 20,000 pounds of gear for 6 hours, and then after that, you're standing in formation for 3 hours waiting for some asshole to decide it's okay for you to go home. And like you're doing a lot of work all day, every single day. So, yeah, okay, if you work in an office and you just refuse to do any exercise of any variety, like, yeah, you better strictly eat 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day. But if you're willing to get out there and get after it, like 2,000 calories a day is going to run out right quick.
And there's like there's a ton of parallels between this and like everything in life. And lifting weights is I had been lifting weights for probably 8 years by the time I got to college. And so I'd already kind of had this experience with a long-term goal and discipline. And you start really hardcore and then you get lazy and then you find the middle ground and you continue. And that's I was able to talk myself into like, well, it will only take 4 years to get into med school. And to me, it was only because I was like, well, working out's harder and I've already done that twice as long. Med school and working out are like what I draw on with the podcast. Very
Yeah.
early on, I was like, yeah, it'll take a while, but I can do it. Um, but the not only that, but and here's another thing is so if you're not doing anything yet, you got to eat next to nothing. It's the craziest thing in that when I exercise, if I go and do a legit workout, my caloric needs are higher. I'm building muscle. I'm less hungry throughout the day.
Oh,
If I
yeah.
do nothing, and so the muscle, the engine idling, that's present in both, so it cancels out. When I do nothing and don't need more calories, I am so fucking hungry. By 10 a.m., I'm like making my dinner. I'm like, what am I doing? And so there is, I think, some similarities in that. Not only in that exercise will actually make you less hungry. You still got to be disciplined, but it's actually a lot easier. So your brain releases something. I don't know what it is. But I think there's a similarity in that what is it really in the most abstract sense? When you start working towards something that you know you need to do, and you know it's for your benefit, and you know there's no shortcut, it actually starts to get easier. When you don't do it and you sit around all day thinking about the thing you do, whatever that is, I got to get in shape. I got to, stop taking painkillers, or I drink too much, or, I haven't fucking paid my bills, or, I'm eating whatever it is when you actually start moving in that direction, it starts to become incredibly easy relative to not doing it at all and thinking. It's the weirdest paradox.
So there's
Yeah,
it's not that weird, right? So you're talking about two things there. One is stress eating, and one is bored eating, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
if you're the kind of person who's sitting around doing high time preference things like playing video games all day or jerking off or whatever it is you're doing that is very instant gratification type stuff, like, well, man, a little bit of sugar in that donut sounds amazing.
Oh, it's a little
I need to
hit.
get that donut, right?
The alcohol's good, but
Because
you got some. You got a bag. You got some Adderall too. If we're already doing this,
right. Like, hey, if we're in, we're all the way in
like
here,
why
right?
not?
You know what? Give me a donut, a drink, and some Adderall, and we're gonna have a good time.
Shit, if
Okay.
we're turning off body cams, You know,
Right?
but it is, yeah,
Amazing things are about to
yeah.
happen. But you're feeding that same thing, right? Where it's that I need to feel good now, need to feel good now, need to feel good now, right? And that right there, that is getting you away from whatever it is that you know you should be doing, which is why you want to do it when you are thinking, man, I should do some working out. Man, I should get back in shape. Man, I should do whatever, right? You're like, oh man, that all sounds hard. And that's only because it's hard. Okay. All right. Picking up heavy things is hard. Otherwise, they wouldn't be heavy things. And so, like, man, I could get that gratification after going to the gym for 3 hours, or by eating a donut, or by shotgunning a fifth of whiskey, or whatever it is that you do. I don't, you have your thing, whatever that is. Put that thing in there, right? I could play this tiny subset of reality with very strict rules that allow me to become successful relatively easy compared to becoming successful in life, and then I can feel good because there's a little achievement down in the lower right
Mhm.
hand corner. There's a flash of light. There's a sound. There's every single thing that you use to teach a toddler that a thing is a good idea. Right. This is how they design video games. This is how they design video games basically for the past 20 years. No, it was not always this way. I don't care what anybody tells you, but it is this way now. Whether you like it or not, that's
Oh,
how
yeah.
it is. It's
I was
done this way intentionally.
They're very good at
And
sales.
so Exactly, right? And so, you're doing those things to distract yourself. And it's a counter to stress. That's what it is. Which, by the way, working out is also a counter to stress, which is a huge part of why guys who are jacked all the time are rarely stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
But the bored eating thing is often a product of the same thing, right? Like, hey man, so I spent all of my life with all this, super instant gratification stuff, where I watch SpongeBob as peak television, right? Where and go back and watch SpongeBob right now and do it with an eye for loud noises and flashy things. Which is why I cannot, despite that I am the right age, I cannot stand that show because that's all it is, right? It teaches people immediately, right? Half of you were raised on this from like age 3. Okay, you need flashing lights and loud noises, right? That is not pick up the heavy thing for 3 hours. It's just not, and it's not gonna be. Okay, and so if that is the standard of how life is, because you feed yourself this every single day, then yeah, you are bored. You need something that feels good, tastes good, right? Whatever in that moment because the standard of life is, but there should always be flashing lights. There should always be loud noises. There should always be something that is very, very exciting, right? And this is exactly why people tell you things like pray, meditate, do all these things, take walks, right? So put your fucking phone down. And I cannot stress that enough. Put your
Put his
fucking phone
fucking phone
down.
down.
By the way, you want to find out how jacked up your life is? Take your phone, put it on your nightstand for a day. You don't have. I know all the. Oh my god! But my boss requires that I have my phone on me at all times, or I'm gonna get. Shut
Just,
the fuck
just
up.
do
Take a
one
day of
day. Just do
vacation.
one day.
Take a vacation if you have to. Right? Like, hey, I'm literally going to be unreachable for one day. I
And with family
know.
on Saturday,
Right.
just fly
Um.
and just whatever.
Yeah. Take it and put it on your nightstand. Now, take with you a notepad and a pencil. And every time you reach for your phone, pull out that notepad and pencil and put one little check mark on it. Right.
Mhm.
If it's less than 20, you're probably doing better than most of society. Okay. You are addicted to that thing because of those stupid little dopamine hits. That's it. That's all there is. You want to make life better in every way imaginable? Get rid of your fucking phone. I was in a Bible study not all that long ago, and somebody was like, "Oh my God, man! Like, I can't help it. I pick up my phone all the fucking time, and like, I know I should be paying more attention to Jesus." I was like, "Reset your wallpaper on your lock screen to a thing that says put me down and pray." Right? And here's the deal.
Or any positive. I have a series of
Yeah,
backgrounds I resolve through, and it makes me get off of them. Sorry,
right.
here's the one I have right now. If you and this is in the line of praying, if you're going to overthink, and it's like a modern derivative of the whole, God says don't be anxious, be not afraid. If you're going to overthink, at least overthink all the ways it could work out in your favor. And
Yeah,
that to me is like a reason I see that when I get out of Twitter or Instagram and I go, I'm overthinking. But sorry,
yeah.
keep going. Bible study.
Yeah, so like, change that thing to put me down and pray. And here's the deal. For all of you who are like, "Oh, but this thing is so important," for all the productive tool reasons that phones are in fact useful. Okay? If you are receiving a work call and you pick up your phone and go, "Oh man, it's a work call." Guess what's not there? The wallpaper that says, "Hey, put me down and pray." Because it's doing the work. It's doing the tool thing right then. If you pick up your phone and there's an email that says, "Hey, you're in for a promotion," you're not going to stop and read the wallpaper. You'll be like, "Oh my God, what do I need to do to get my promotion?" Right? If you're sitting on the toilet and scrolling freaking memes, you're going to have to click through that lock screen. You're going to have to
Mm.
spend some time staring at that thing going, "Hey, stupid, you're doing the wrong thing." Right? That's it. These massive life hacks or whatever, not actually required. Just stop doing, leave yourself tiny reminders to stop doing the dumbest shit you do every single day in your life. All right, that's it. And you don't have to, you don't have to get rid of your phone, right? And if you don't believe me, I have a cell phone, right? It is a smartphone. You don't have to just throw it in the garbage. It's not going to hurt you to throw it in the garbage, but you don't have to. Okay. Just stop screwing with it. Like I was talking to my mother a little while ago, and I was like, I'm seriously thinking about going and getting a flip phone. I am so goddamn tired of these things. And she goes, "Oh, but you're going to lose all your games." And I went, "And that's why I'm thinking about going and getting a flip phone."
I'm thinking about going to AA. Yeah, but we have that. We have the home bar. Well,
That's why I'm thinking about
yeah,
going
it's.
to.
And I was gonna say, yeah, for the people that try that, also switch out the background, the phone background every once in a while, because you will start to get used to it. Which is why I have an album of like 30 that once I realize I'm no longer reading it every day,
Yeah.
you start forgetting what it's just an image. Switch it. But so, and this is kind of what I wanted to get to is like, so everything you're saying, and I'm someone who, just as an aside, like was this strict for most of my life. And then after college, granted, it was also lost my brother, but I did not like a day. I did like 2, 3 years of just the complete opposite. Sleep in all day, unemployed. Parents were giving me money, gained so much fucking weight, was on every drug. And you might go like, hey, at least it was a fun ride. I can tell you, not only in hindsight, I can tell you during it, it was the worst. It was the most unimaginably uncomfortable thing ever. And now I'm back to, doing with the podcast for 6 years. I've been back in this kind of rigid structure, so much more enjoyable. So just as
Yeah.
somebody that has done like the group exercises for years each, I can tell you. But what I wanted to get back to is like, so everything we're talking about, and I know this from myself, these are all things that people hear, and you can, and it's not, you're not wrong. It just kind of, it sounds like the motivation, and yeah, I know, like everyone knows what to do. Like they're not, if you ask any random person,
So
hey, if you had to,
hold on right there because oh man, I used to say that constantly. Everyone knows what to do, right? And
ab,
you think to yourself on
no,
the most basic level, everyone knows what to do. Dear internet,
really,
thank you. You have proven me wrong,
I always
a
thought,
whole lot of wrong. Okay,
all right,
I
well,
cannot
fuck me.
like because I started man for years. I preached
Yeah,
that
yeah, like
sermon.
go to bed early, don't drink water, work out, and read, and make sure you laugh. Like,
Yeah, and let me
okay,
tell you how this actually plays out. Right, like but I go to bed at 2 in the morning. Right. Oh, but like I lift weights twice a week. Right. I eat McDonald's 20 meals a week. Right. Why? Because I get a double quarter pounder. Right. Heavy on the protein.
oh, yeah, okay, so
Are
no,
are you are you? What did you just say to me?
yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, that's fair. Then people are retarded. But that wasn't even the primary point I was making. Okay. Well, you could Google, what are 5 things I can do? 8 hours of sleep, exercise, meditation or prayer, try to learn something new every day, tell someone you love them, laugh, go outside and see the sun, even if it's for 30 seconds, whatever. Okay. But that wasn't even the point I was gonna make is I know for myself in that kind of deep, horrible rut for 2, 3 years after my brother died. And this is despite having already lived that life for a long time. I had forgotten, so I can't even imagine what it would be like had you never lived that life. All this stuff, you go, I get it. I get what you're saying. It sounds so brutal, and this is just mask off. This is more enjoyable than that. This is what I would say is everything I do. And you can give the motive. Well, it feels good to look good, and you feel good to flirt with girls. I got a hand on the Bible, hand on a fucking lie detector. The reason I do the things I do every day is because it is subjectively an easier, less painful, less stressful, less suffering life. I just, when I go to the, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I go to the gym because I feel good after. I get 8 hours of sleep because I don't get anxiety when I do that. I eat less food because I am more mentally clear and I like not feeling like I have to shit 5 times a day. I read every day because it starts to make the world less scary. I'm unplugged from the internet not because phone time is bad, but because put your phone down. And like you said, there's two things that will happen when you put your phone down. One, you'll either realize how fucked up your immediate life is, how gross your
Yeah.
apartment is, and if you're not that, here's the other thing. You will find out just how many threats are not at your front door. It doesn't mean put your head in the sand and say everything's good. No, no, no. Bread and circus, I get it. No, you got to be aware of the world. Put your phone down, and if you're not immediately fucked, what you will realize, and it might take a day or two, you just look outside and you go, "Oh, look at the clouds coming over the mountains. Oh, that is beautiful." Man,
Oh,
birds
dude.
are how psychedelic are birds? So my point in saying all this is the reason I do everything I do is because to me it is subjectively more difficult to sit around and do nothing. So if your reasoning to not do this stuff is because you want an easier life, do this. This is
Okay.
easier.
There are two ways to go after this point, and I'm more than happy to do both. One, you are absolutely right. Like these things are easier in anything resembling a long run. And by the
Sorry,
way,
as soon as you start. Once you start, the hardest
oh
day is the first day. And then you go, oh wait, this feels good.
yeah.
Sorry.
Well, look, if you need that kind of motivation, go find literally anyone on the internet who had their foot cut off because of diabetes, and ask yourself how much better your life will be with that foot.
And the people I mock all the time, I will say they did help me when I was at the very bottom. Jocko Willink and David Goggins. Now I look at them and I go, yeah, they're a meme. But I will say, if you are completely fucked, they actually do. They can get you out of the very bottom, and it's free. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the deal with that sort of thing, right? Is there are a lot of people who really need like the good video,
Yeah.
right? And I mean that unironically. You
No, meaning I remember
need
watching that while I was fucking like babysitting my grandma because I was seeing a therapist nearby because I was on suicide watch at 28. Like
Mhm.
I remember watching.
Yeah. And look, man, uh it's not, it goes right to, I mean, this, you can find this in literally every topic. People used to ask me all the time, what is advanced shooting? Because if you talk to people about shooting, the first thing they tell you is fundamentals, 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 right? And good sight picture, good sight alignment, go get after it, blah blah blah. And so everybody, one, wants to act like that doesn't apply to you. First things first, it applies to you 100% of the time. And so then you get to find on what's advanced shooting. Do the fundamentals while doing something else. That's advanced shooting. The end. Good talk, right? And this is not different for things like good. Okay. If you are sitting in your room and you are alone and things are jacked up and you're like, man, what do I do? And you go watch good just because you need some motivation to get out of your room and do something positive and beneficial, good, right? That, hey, whatever gets you there. When you are stuck on the side of the road or whatever with a blown out tire and you're like, good, and you're changing a tire, all right, that's it. That's advanced good.
Yeah.
Got it? This goes to the other thing, right? And I'm going to go ahead and be a giant dickhead evangelist, and I don't care. All right. If you are sitting in your room and you are hearing you're worthless, right? You're a fat piece of garbage. That's all too hard. You can't do that. You tried that one time and you walked for 10 minutes and were tired. Right. That is the fucking devil.
That is legitimately the fucking devil.
That's it. Now, you can be as much of a pedant as you want. Oh man, but like there's demons that actually do this. I don't give a shit. Same thing. You Who gives a shit? Which specific thing is whispering in your ear?
Maybe you're full
I,
blown atheist. You know what I would say? That's a bad neural structure. Get rid of it.
yeah,
Pick
I
your
I am
poison.
I am not so flinching on this.
No,
You
no, no,
can
no, 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 no. Neither
rationalize.
am I. No, no. But what I'm saying is for the people who are absolutely fucked and they are in bed, and the last thing they want to hear is, I would say, choose anything and get up. But no, realistically, that shit's a fucking demon, man. It's a fucking demon. And
And that's
it's
what it is. Now, if you want to if you want to be edgy internet atheist circa
Neil
2013,
deGrasse Tyson.
oh man, that fucking
I would say the only way that's allowable is if that's what gets you up. If you're absolutely fucked and you feel like you're on the edge of fucking suicide and the last thing you want to hear is evangelism, again, I would say find God. But if that's not your cup of tea, whatever you need to get up, I would say that. But
Hey,
keep
look, preserving life is important, right? So if you are in a place where today you can't hear that Jesus loves you, and by the way, love does not mean eat more donuts. I don't care what your grandmother told you. Okay. If you are not in a place where you can hear that Jesus loves you today, get up and do something positive. Because I got news. You're going to go wander this earth, and at some point, you're going to look up at the sky and you're going to see God.
uh-huh.
And he's going to be right there staring back at you, be like, hey, hey, over
Forrest
here.
Gump wave.
Right. You know,
Oh yeah.
and that's fine if that's what it takes. Okay. And by the way, given the events of the last week or so, one of those things that is rightly being passed around is the best evidence for God you can find in society right now is the clear, obvious evidence of evil.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
And that's
It's
just true.
dude, it's all the fucking exorcism movies, right? Where the if you say the demon's name, it has to show itself. These are people that I don't think they could not show glee about Charlie Kirk if they wanted to. I really do believe it. I don't think
Oh,
they're
yeah.
choosing to. I think it's reflexive, like a burp. I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
they can stop.
Yeah. This is one of those kind of moments, right? Where there is a simple reality. There are some dividing going on the left right now. And you could be as upset as you want at the terminology. I don't really care. Uh, there are some 10-20% of the left that are waking up today and going, oh my God, this is not what I thought we were. I have been tricked. And if you are one of those people, I don't want you to feel bad today. Everybody gets tricked. Okay. When I say that's the devil, right? Prince of lies. That's what he
Yeah.
does. He lies.
He's
Okay.
not
And
stupid. He's extremely good at what he does.
he didn't come to you and say, what we need to do is we need to be demons who need to burn down everything good in the world. He came to you and he said, you're a good person.
Hey, do pedophiles roll up to a school and say, "I'm an evil, scary guy that wants to see," or what do?
No,
They have a van with puppies and candies.
that's right. Came to you and he said, you're a good person. You're doing the right thing. You are here to be good and righteous, right? That's what he said. And you believed it. And I don't need you to look in the mirror today and go, oh my God, I'm a horrible piece of shit. Okay. You were wrong. That happens.
Yeah.
Be wrong. And then look in the mirror and go, oh man, we're going to stop being wrong now.
I don't want to
Does
feel
this
wrong
mean,
anymore. Yeah.
because this is a political topic, does this mean you need to go worship Donald Trump? No.
No.
And don't. Okay.
And hey, and not only does it mean you don't have to, you shouldn't.
Exactly. Right. Idolatry is a sin, and I don't care what it is that you're worshiping that's not God.
Yeah.
If it's Donald Trump, you're wrong. If
Bad.
it's the welfare state, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. Okay. And by the way, there are any number of people who are going to run into this exact same thing everywhere in their life. Right. You turned around and you hated on somebody for something and whatever, and you were wrong, and that's okay. All right. You are not expected to be perfect. Perfection is not the standard. Don't try. You want to be depressed? Make perfection the standard. That is that simple. Okay. If you wake up every morning and I have to walk perfectly today, man, you're never going to make it.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
when I say you're never going to make it, I mean, you are already screwed before you get out of bed. That's
no.
it.
And
You already lost.
this is the guy who was angry that I scored in the 96th percentile in the MCAT.
You know what I mean?
Very
Like,
angry because
oh man.
who are these 4% of people who are better than me?
Right. I'm only in
Everyone
the
was
top
telling
4%.
dude, it was like I had friends all throughout college who were coming up to me. They're like, dude, everyone's talking about it. And I was like, I know, I just should have done better. And they were like, what? And I wasn't like memeing. I was like, I just
Yeah.
fucking
And look, man, That's a real thing too. And of the same caliber of problem, right? That's just idolatry of the self. I should have been perfect, right? I should have walked on water. Well, that's not your job. Okay. Whether you like it or not, you're not always going to be the top of every game. It's just not going to happen. Okay. If you are at the top of your game, go out there, look up, say thank you. All right. And then ask what you can do for him for what he gave you. That's it. Okay. And by the way, if you think that's a joke, if you think that's over the top or ridiculous, go be ungrateful for a while. And two things are going to happen. One, you're going to lose whatever you got. And two, you are going to be miserable. So I don't care how hard it is today. Get up and say thank you for whatever you have. And I know I can hear it already. Don, I don't have anything. You are on the internet to have heard this.
Do your legs work? No, 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 and there's a reality to this because I started, I started a year or maybe more, and so the very first thing on my to-do list is don't think, say out loud three things you're grateful for, and the very last thing is when I go to bed, say three things you're grateful for. And when you first start, you feel so you like, I mean, and
Yeah,
then
you feel like a meme.
and some days it's awesome. You're like, dude, thank you for that fucking connection on the podcast. Thank you for the raise, and it's like that's
Yeah,
easy. But the more, so when if you start, I mean, truly start with this. Sometimes if I can't think of anything, I'll be like, thanks for not having a nightmare. Nightmares suck. I
yeah,
had a normal night's sleep. I'll go, thanks for the warm bed. And I'll literally look and be like, I don't have strep throat. I haven't had strep throat in over 10 years, but I'm like, I don't have strep throat today.
yeah,
And the more you do it, you will actually start to slowly, you'll feel like a meme. But
yeah,
one day you'll start to realize where I'll do things like today, at the end of the day, I'll be like, man, thanks for putting me in touch with Dawn again. Another thing is I'll be like, sometimes it's simple. I'm like, oh yeah, the maintenance guy, they fixed the dryer. I'm like, that kind of sucked when it wasn't drying. And then I'll be
yeah.
like, and then if I can't think of anything, I'll be like, I'm standing up straight. Some
Yeah.
people can't do that. My
That
thumbs work.
this goes right on back to the like, what is advanced good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, you're not dead.
Yeah. Oh
All right.
yeah.
That let's start there.
Let's
Uh,
start, let's start at the fundamental quantum Planck
right.
space. If you can hear this,
You're not dead. Okay.
good.
Which means you can do something else tomorrow. You can do something else today. You can do something else in 10 minutes. Okay. Now, maybe you've done literally every single thing wrong for your entire life from the moment you were born until now. I doubt it, but maybe you think that's the case. Okay.
Noted.
Fine. You lived this long so that you could learn not to do literally all of those things. And now you could go do something right. That maybe that's where we are today. Fine. We have learned as much wrong as we're going to learn in this lifetime. Let's learn to do something right. Literally anything, one thing. I don't care how small you have to start there.
One thing what always helped me with when you look at your past patterns is like if sit on the back of a boat and look at the wake, no part of you ever thinks, well, man, the wake has been this straight line for the last hour. I guess we're going straight. If you said that, somebody look at you and go, the boat's creating the wake, you fucking they'd wiggle it and go, look, there's the wake. That's what your history is.
Yeah.
It's trailing off from the ship. You're the ship.
And look, I
It's
get it.
like,
This is the thing I was thinking of this morning, and I almost forgot to say. Uh, you are, whether you like it or not, going to pay for the things you've done wrong in the past.
mhm.
Okay. And you need to understand this. By the way, you're probably paying for them right now, whether you think so or not. If
Yeah,
you weigh 600 pounds and you're listening to this, you're paying for it.
yeah,
You're paying for it every single minute of every single day of your entire life.
yeah.
Okay. I didn't wake up with, this point of view and go, well, I think I should go get back in shape, which is where we started here. Right. And then suddenly drop 30 pounds, become jacked. Like I'm not precisely jacked as I sit. So that clearly didn't happen, right? Still got to get up every day. Still got to do the working out. Still got to do the eating right. You are going to pay for the sins that you have engaged in the past. The question you need to ask yourself is how much do you want to pay? All right.
Hmm.
You are paying for it right now. And every day that you continue to engage in it, you will do more paying. So
Compound interest.
start paying now and get done with it.
You know what's really cool is the guy you owe, he's not a fucking predatory banker. You don't owe the bank. You owe your really rich uncle. Guess what? He's gonna work with you. If he sees you
Yeah.
start working, he'll be like, "Hey, all right, hey, you don't have to. I'm not gonna steal your house. How much can you pay right now, dude? I can maybe pay you $5 a month to this medical bill. Okay." He's psyched. He
Yeah.
wants you to pay because, by the way, he doesn't need any of the money. He's just like, dude, this is
Yeah.
awesome. This is fucking great. He and then here's the other thing is not only do you pay for it, as you start moving in the direction, it actually, and this is the counterintuitive part, it feels good to pay it.
Yeah.
Don't feel help. That's why learned helplessness is such a thing in tyrannical societies.
Oh
Is
man.
you,
Yes.
is when you start going to the, oh, well, you're never going to be curling 50. No, but the fact that today you curled 3 pounds and yet, or last week you curled 2.5, you go, oh, wait, so I put in effort and then it changed. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Advanced philosophy. Hey, it's like, well, what next? What do you want to do next? Do you want to be a billionaire? Go for it. This is all it is. This is
So
all it fucking is.
to the curling 50 thing. All right. So when I was younger, I did curl 50. One handed, one single barbell, curled 50.
Highest I ever got, I think, was whatever the dumbbell select, the rope, the Bowflex Select Techs,
Yeah.
whatever I had those in college. I could do the highest. I think it was 52.
Yeah, 52 and a half for the little ones.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I,
yeah. All right.
I
Wasn't
have
sure how
the
autistic you were. Wasn't
yeah,
gonna.
well, so I have the bigger one of those and
Yeah.
they go up to 92 and a half.
Oh yeah,
So
man.
I'm
Fuck
working
that.
on that.
Oh, fucking
Uh, but anyway, uh, when I was younger, right, that is what I was currently was about 50, right? 55 or 60 or something like I was in a lot of good shape at the time. And when this turn happened, because you can find plenty of video of me all over the internet saying, A, I don't believe in God, and B, being substantially fatter than I am now. When this happened, I had canceled the show. I'd been off the air for a good couple of years. I raised chickens and ducks, right? That's is what I've been occupying myself with for the past, I don't know, about 5 years or 3 years, something like that. And early on, I'm out doing something and I walk by my duck pond, and one of my ducks just freaks out. And I am covered head to toe in duck pond water. Now, for those of you who have any idea what that means, you all just went, "Oh,
shit algae.
that's bad."
Yeah.
No algae.
No.
I
Just
ain't worried about algae.
just duck shit.
Um, Worms.
Uh,
What's the salmonella, right? Um, and a handful of other little bacterias that just hang out on and around ducks. Okay. And so if you are sitting there thinking to yourself, man, I really want the shortcut. I really, you know what? I want to pray to God for a shortcut. Okay. But let me tell you how my shortcut went. When that happened, I weighed somewhere around 250 pounds. And then I sat on my ass because I couldn't get up. I could barely walk across my house because I was dying because I was laden with worms and salmonella and C. diff, which is a bacterial infection of your gut that will kill you.
what year was this?
22, 23, something like that.
I was
Or
just for whatever fucking reason, I was like scrolling through just old pictures of like I was trying to find us with Joe Kent, and I found a picture. It's a selfie of you in like the hospital,
yeah.
or whatever it was, or you had like a beanie on.
Yeah, I think it's around that time.
I was just looking at that like last week. Sorry, keep going.
And so I, I I can't do anything, right? I could barely do enough to keep this place running. Um, I'm getting maybe 2 hours a day where I can get literally any work done. I'm just exhausted all the time, right? And by the way, if you're wondering why, worms are a parasite. They steal all the nutrients out of your body, and so you're pretty literally just starving. And so, I eventually suck it up and go, all right, I'm going to go to the hospital. So I go to the VA, and the VA says, you have COVID. Why? Because it's the VA. All right. And for those of you who think like, oh, the stories of the VA aren't that bad. Oh, yes, they are. And I said, I don't have COVID. I don't have any lung involvement of any variety. This is very clearly a gut problem of some variety. Um, I'm not playing stupid games. Just figure out what's wrong with me in some way that is not being a retard and going, COVID, right? So my doctor spurgs out, all right, loses his, oh my God, I need to be protected in case any of my other patients get COVID. First of all, shut up, all right? It's a cold. We all know it now. We all knew it then, right? But here's your medical industry for you. Oh my God, it's COVID. We're all going to die. You're an idiot, right? So he throws me out of the VA. I suggest you go to the ER. So I go to the ER and I sit down with an ER doc for 2 minutes and he goes, well, I don't know what it is, man, but it sure shit ain't COVID, right? Does this matter? No. Talk to the director of my local VA who is like, well, he's a super good doctor. I was like, no, he's a fucking retard. Okay. So I finally get them to process me because I live far enough away from the VA that I can go to a regular hospital. And while the paperwork is processing, sorry for as disgusting as this is going to get, but I quite literally shit out a worm, right? And I'm like, well, that explains it.
Yeah.
So here we are. And so I go to the doc, finally get to the doc, and I'm like, hey, I've got worms. Amongst whatever else is wrong with me, I've got worms. And I had taken a picture of said worm, and she's like, yeah, you do. Here's the stuff. On the way in, they weighed me. I weighed 200 pounds. I had lost like 50 pounds to worms and salmonella. So the next time you want a shortcut, let me tell you what a shortcut looks like. It looks like literally dying. Once finally all of those things had gotten taken care of, I went for the follow-up with new doc, and new doc was like, on the day you walked in here, I was about to just check you into the hospital because I thought you were going to die.
Mm.
Like your eyes are sunken in, you're pale. There's no color of any variety. If you weren't quite so happy as you were going to the hospital. I was like, well, look, it's been 2 years that I've been
Yeah.
dealing with this, right? And so, in one form or another, 2 years that I've been dealing with it. And so, yeah, for the first time in 2 years, somebody was willing to listen to what was going on. Yeah, I was pretty happy. Yeah, I was probably still dying. And she was like, yeah, like we took a whole lot of readings of you and you were pretty much, you were at death's door. So if you want a shortcut, understand that that's what they look like.
Oh, he'll bring
It's
him.
the 15th century diet. Unironically, take worms and you will lose a bunch of weight. And make no mistake, amongst the things that happened during that time, because one of the things that these kinds of parasites do is they suck all of the nutrients out of your body that permit you to be happy in any way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah,
Right.
well your gut brain axis is like a huge thing, relatively like past
Done.
10 years,
Right.
relatively new thing in medicine.
Yeah. And so, you're depressed, you're tired, you can't do anything. Right. Like life is friggin' miserable.
Oh,
And
it gets
so during this time, in the world of for the various people who have said along the way, amongst which, by the way, was Tony Moon. Like back when both of us interviewed Tony Moon, we
rooftop
were talking.
Korean.
Yeah, he and I were talking like right afterwards, or right before, right afterwards, and he said something to me about Jesus, and I gave him some honest but like
Sure.
kind of sarcastic answer, and he was like, "He's reaching, brother. Like, you just have to stop telling him no."
Right.
Right. And during this time, while I am sick, while I can't get up, I can't do anything, right? A successive line of about 10 people, one after another, after another, after another, right? Um, would call me up and be like, hey, man, so like, God told me to talk to you about it. And I'm
Mm.
like, look, man, I'm kind of freaking tired right now. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're all my friends. And I never hated any of these people for their faith. And so I'm like, look, I kind of feel like shit. And, he's like, and every single one was like, well, look, man, we can go at your pace. Don't worry about it. That's not a problem. But I'd get through sometimes weeks, sometimes months of conversation with these people. And the moment that conversation would peter out, somebody else would call me and be like, hey, man, God told me to talk to him about you. And this spanned so far. I've been out of the Marine Corps for 13 years this year? Yeah. Um, a guy called me, and keeping in mind, this is like 2 years ago, right? A guy called me that I had not seen in over a decade, had not talked to in over a decade. Love this guy while I was in, great friends. And he calls me out of the blue one day and he goes, "Hey, man." And by the way, when I say, as soon as one of these conversations would peter out, like talking to a different friend of mine, and he's like, "Look, man, I don't know how to answer any of your questions. I don't know the things to say to you. You make me doubt what I know about Christianity." And I was like, "This is why I don't want to talk to people about this."
Hmm.
And that conversation gets to about that point. Friend from the Marine Corps calls me and he goes, "Hey, man, God told me to talk to you about it." And I'm like,
Like, motherfucker.
"Motherfucker." And as that happens, mutual friend of ours, guy from the military that lost his job for January 6th, very related to me, no less, calls me up and goes, "Hey, man, God told me to talk to you about
You're
you."
like fucking cock sucking son of a.
Right. I'm
At a
like,
certain point, that's proof of God, but not why you'd think. You'd be like, only one person could pull off a prank this bad.
oh, man, yeah, right.
God.
Because, by the way, none, like, not none, but it is impossible for those two people in particular to know each other. There is no way, right? One joined the army a decade or something after a Marine Corps friend of mine and I got out. Okay. you know, this is not even remotely, it's not possible for them to know each other. There's probably 20 people, of whom maybe six know each other, who are just after the other, after the other. And by the way, Tony Moon knows like none of these people, right?
No, I know what you're talking about because look at the variety of people I talk to.
Yeah.
Well, and I will get very similar messages from people that don't even know the other
Yeah, exactly.
people's home country exists.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Right.
it's shit like that.
And so, that you need to understand that for those of us who have dealt with these sorts of things, right, it becomes pretty clear and obvious. And so when we say things like, "When you are hearing these things, that's the devil," we mean it.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, no, it's not a meme.
uh, when we say, go out and do the smallest thing to better yourself, uh, do it. Don't ask for shortcuts, right? Because, by the way, the cost of my shortcut was dramatic. You it's lost 5% of my life or something for the shortcut. I could literally get nothing done, and that was that. On the other hand, price paid, and here we are.
Hmm.
So when you are begging uh, for somebody to, you know, uh, I have seen any number of atheists say things like, "Well, if God just came down and told me who He was straight to my face," like, well, you you sure you want that?
Yeah, that's
You
not
you
indicative.
sure that's a good idea?
That's not.
Because just for clarity's sake, it did not work out well for most of the people that sort of thing happened to.
Hmm. Don't tell everyone where to find you. You know, I gotta go piss and fill up my cup with ice. Tell everybody where to find you or whatever the fuck.
Sure. You can still find me on X at Helo Procurement. All one word, no spaces, no dashes, none of that kind of nonsense. It is the only place on the internet that I am currently putting up content. If I ever get around to, and I think I will, putting content in the video format back on the internet, the only place I'm willing to say that I'm going to do it is rumble.com/pleb media. I really, as much as I have a YouTube channel that still has a decent following on it, there's no way I can ever broadcast to YouTube again. It is a freaking disaster. I will have no part of it. I know the entire YouTube audience is like, "Don, but just tell us." Sorry, YouTube is done. At least for me, I'm not here to tell you that it is about to go bankrupt or go off the internet or any of the other silly things that people say. But there's a simple reality that if you speak in any way on YouTube, they're coming for you, unless what you have to say is do demonic things and worship the left. They will let you say that. And I'm not very interested in saying that, which is to say, I'm not going to say that. So I can't be on YouTube. While Tommy is still doing whatever Tommy is doing, small story about how that works. I quit broadcasting to YouTube for 3 years. And then I got 20 emails back to back to back to back to back, give or take, over the span of a couple of weeks, just enough to not terminate the channel, of community guidelines strike, copyright strike. I got a copyright strike for like a 3-minute video of just me talking. Now, I don't know whose copyright that was as opposed to mine, but I got one. And so understand that there is just no possible way to be on YouTube and seriously do anything that is not nihilistic and ridiculous. Yeah, okay. You can review video games sometimes. And by the way, I know some people are going to say, "Oh, but there are large creators over there who do okay." Yeah, there are people with multiple millions of dollars who have lawyers and sue YouTube, or go into contract negotiations with them on like a monthly basis. If you are looking at those people and going, "Dear 10,000 subscriber creator, why aren't you doing this?" The answer is this doesn't pay that well. Okay. There is not a 10,000 subscriber channel that has $5 million to throw at attorneys to tell YouTube to stop being YouTube. That's not going to happen.
You know,
Welcome back, Tommy.
thank you, sir. Um, I was gonna say, so for like me, grew up super Catholic, private Catholic school, probably became like an atheist around my sophomore year of high school, so 16, which is Reddit atheist, Neil deGrasse, whatever, that whole fucking whatever,
Yep.
pre-med, blah 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 blah, and then kind of agnostic after my brother died, but that was from like psychedelics. Um, yeah, I mean, I would look at, for me, it was like a shortcut, but it wasn't. I don't remember asking for. I do remember I wanted to believe in God, and maybe that was a way of asking for it. Um, but one thing I'd always thought about was the JFK quote, like "Don't pray for ease of your lives, pray to be stronger men." And I always thought that quote was kind of bullshit because it's still the same thing. It's asking for the dollar or the
No.
quarters. Well, it's no, but hear me out. Hear me out. I'm retarded. But I was like, if you're praying to be a
That's
stronger man in a way that's praying to be, I know it's not 1-on-1, but so I broke it down as far as I could go. It's like, well, don't pray for ease of your lives, pray for be a stronger man. Well, it's like, well, no, you have to become the stronger man, and it's like, well, how do you become the stronger man? You have to be aware of your deficits. So I always think pray to be aware because then you can be aware of deficits, and the deficits can make you a stronger man, and whatever.
yes.
It's not, it's fucking, that's the OCD. Um, Yeah, but no, like for me, it was, and it was like one of the first stories I told on the podcast, but was on my birthday in 2019. Been living at home for like 3 years at that point. So many false starts trying to just get back out into the world. I mean, I was so fucked. And that was probably like 5 years after my brother died. And then I remember I woke up in the hospital, uh, and I had no idea what happened. Um, and they said I had been in the hospital for like 4 days. And I remember like the doctor was tearing up because she thought I had died. I have like notes from my parents around me. I no recollection of what happened, and they didn't either. So I guess what happened is like I guess like the morning I just remember going to bed, doing what I always do, turn on like a documentary and just fall asleep. And I guess I don't know if I was like throwing up or something. I still don't remember what happened. I guess my parents found me, and my mom's a nurse, and they were like something's fucked, took me to the hospital. And then I guess when I got there, I had like successfully fought 4 nurses to the point where they just pulled in the security guard because they were like, "Hey, fuck this kid." And apparently my dad was like sitting on my chest, and I had a nurse on each limb, and I was still putting up like a hero's fight. And they hit me with like I don't know, like a shot of something, maybe trazodone or Valium, and they're like,
Yeah.
"This is for emergencies," and nothing happened. And so then they just brought in the anesthesiologist and they just essentially said, well, let's just treat him like he's going in for surgery. They just put the mask on me and boom, no recollection. And, they bring me in, they're like, we're going to drug test him. Of course, my mom's like, he's not on drugs. And they're like, well, everyone thinks their son's not on drugs. They didn't know what to do because I actually wasn't. I really wasn't. I was on nothing. I had some freak interaction with Benadryl and something else. It's called an acetylcholinergic, whatever. I remember coming out of that and seeing like how like shaken my parents were, my brothers, and everyone I knew and loved. Everyone had thought I was like intentionally tried to kill myself, and then when they said there's no drugs, or it was an accident, I had truly nothing, no recollection of anything. But they had said,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I guess I was knocking on death's door, and the toxicologist went, the door opened, and like the Reaper's hand was coming out. I had no idea.
Yeah.
My point is, I remember coming back and like for that night, for the first night in like over 10 years, I prayed. And I was like, all right, like prayed to my brother John, my grandparents, the nicknames were Mimi and Beepy growing up. I like prayed to Mimi and Beepy. I prayed to aunts and uncles who had gone, at an untimely earlier. And I kind of called everyone in. I was in my mind, I'm like I don't even believe this shit works. But I was like, I need like everyone's help because I don't know what to do. Like I am going nowhere fast. Started the podcast a couple months later, and I feel like the rest has been like God's hand. But another thing I look at is in terms of like who did I meet? Who's the one that got me back into praying was Charlie Duke, right? And his
Yeah.
book Moonwalker, I'd actually highly recommend it. It's a short book, but it's his whole story of being a crazy fighter jock, shit faced, whores, bars, and everything, and how he comes back to God. But I do remember what told me, and he told me to look. And the way he told it to me was what I think made me so open to it. Is he was like, just say in the quiet of your own mind, which is kind of, which is kind of impressive for a dude in his like at the time he was like 88. Now he's in his 90s. It's pretty impressive for a dude then to kind of be aware of like the social climate of like being a Christian now. But he was like, you don't have to go make like a Facebook post. You don't even have to tell anybody you do it. I'm going back to God. He's like, if you're embarrassed, that's fine. He goes, just in the quiet of your own mind. No one will ever know.
Oh
Just say,
man.
God, I am letting you into my heart if you are there. And he's like, just try it. And I remember thinking like, whatever. But then, but
Yes.
I tried it that night and like I kind of felt a little better. And of course, I'm like, well, it's placebo effect. My point is that's what got me back to God was the hospital thing and then Charlie Duke a couple months later. And in hindsight, I start to look at Charlie Duke and I go, he's one of three men alive who've walked on the moon. I had him on my show when I had less than 100 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's Rogan hasn't had him on.
Yeah.
Rogan's obsessed with the moon landing. I
Yeah.
think I remember saying he's like, I tried to get Buzz Aldrin, but I couldn't. And I remember I talked to Charlie Duke and he was like, I could put you in touch if you want. And I look back at that and I go, God has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he
because
does.
I go, Charlie Duke's my angel. And then the more I look at it, I go, how would you make an angel to an atheist faggot? You have him come
Like
down
that.
from the moon and talk
Yeah.
to you. And I look at that and
Yeah.
I go, what in the less than 100 subscribers on YouTube? Why did he take my call? And
Yeah.
so my point is like, yeah, try it. Prove me wrong.
So
You can't. Prove
so
me
there's
wrong.
there's a thing you said there that I think is very relative to something that's going on this week. The Christian purity spiral is already rearing its ugly head. Okay.
Oh,
If you're not a Catholic, if you're not this brand
yeah,
of Protestant, if
we're
you're not
drawing
an
the lines
Orthodox,
now.
you then you're not really a Christian. Shut the fuck up.
It's that post 9/11, you're with us or against us,
Yeah.
Dick Cheney.
If you are one of the people who is out there right now telling the atheist who has been running from God for his entire life that if he doesn't do your precise ritual, then he's not a Christian. He will never have, he's going to burn in hell. Shut up.
You are doing the
Okay.
work of the devil.
Yes, you are. And in no uncertain terms, that is the case.
And sorry, to
Maybe,
go back to what you said earlier. And you go, well, no, I'm not. I'm a Christian. That's how the devil comes to you. He goes, hey, you're a good Christian. You're not a bad
right.
person. Keep
Right,
going. Sorry, keep
exactly.
going.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that is exactly the thing, right? Like, well, yes, you must, right? You must go to this parish, do this thing. Shut the fuck up. Okay. These people are introducing themselves to God for the first time, some of them ever, some of them in 20 years, some of them in 50 years. And if the first thing you're gonna do is go, no, shut the fuck up, don't talk to God, you are not doing God's work. That's it. The end. Yeah, okay. Maybe you're existentially correct in some long form fashion. I don't give a shit. If today the guy who is like, I have told God to go fuck himself for 50 years, I don't know, man, I'm just going to walk into literally the nearest church.
I'm
And the
gonna feel
thing you
goofy and
have,
I'm gonna close my
yeah,
eyes and go, I don't even know what's the sign of the cross. You probably have to Google what is
right,
it?
right,
God, if you're there,
good,
help me because I'm confused.
good. And by the way, if you are those people, if you have and probably you have walked into your first church by now, but if you're still looking around and you're trying to find the precisely right thing, stop it. Okay? Do literally anything here. Walk into that first church. There is no requirement anywhere at any given time. And by the way, if you're sitting there saying to yourself, yeah, okay, Don, but like I just hate church to begin with, fine. Find a Christian neighbor and be like, hey, man, I realize that like, I made a lot of fun of you and like, I've crapped on God and your religion. Like, do you mind just telling me? Just
Just
like, can we just
yeah.
talk about this? Like, that's way more than good enough. You don't have to do whatever silly thing the angry, unironically, demonically empowered shit that the guy screaming at you because he's an asshole says that you have to do. You don't have to, okay? Just reach out. And again, there's no requirement that you go to the perfect church the first time. Yeah, okay, there's some lower limits of this. If you go to church and they're like, if you go to church and it's, well, but Jesus was trans. Okay, get up and walk
You,
out.
you do have to
All
leave that.
right.
You do have to leave that.
You're allowed to have made the mistake to walk in. Don't stay. Okay. Because that's not about God. It's not about Jesus. It's not about any of the good things in life. But just reach out. Just try. Okay. Anybody who actually gives a damn is going to be willing to forgive your various failures. Okay. And that's really, it's a low bar. And dear Christians out there, when I say it's a low bar, I mean it's a low bar for you too. Okay.
Well, and
Yes,
that's the
try to
thing.
correct their various sins. But guess what? If on the day they're reaching out, they're not perfect, well, neither are you. So shut the fuck up and
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. And chances are you're going to run into somebody like me or like Dawn. And it was before I started the podcast, but if you could have seen me in the years prior, I'd gone up to 237, long, greasy hair on benzos, alcohol, weed, Depakote, Valley, any cough syrup.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, as you come to me, I've kind of fucked up. I go, hey, I don't mean to like one up you, but I guarantee you I was more of a fuck up. Not to be a super alpha competitor, but like not only
All
was my
yours, brother.
MCAT higher, my fuck ups were worse. So, but like
Yeah, right, right.
yeah, no, but no, but it's that and the people that are shooing them away, man, can you imagine somebody outside an AA
Yeah.
telling someone not to come because you're like, you also have to, why don't you have the bracelet? You'd be like, dude, there's a guy trying to come into AA.
Yeah. Shut up and get out of the
Let
way.
him come
Right.
in.
Eh, By the way, which one of you thinks it's a good idea to stand outside of the hospital and shoo away everybody with broken bones?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's who you are. All right. You're the guy standing out in front of the emergency room, like, oh, you have a broken arm? Get the fuck out of here. You don't go to the hospital unless you're healthy.
And you might, and by the way, the person doing that, they probably consciously don't think they're a bad person. That's the deception.
No.
They probably think, and hey, I'm willing to admit you're wrong, but like you're the person, the people, the Christian purity spiral. You're not evil people. What you're doing is evil, but just
Yeah.
understand, hey, you got duped, man. It sucks. It
Yeah.
sucks to get duped. It just sucks.
Yes.
All
And
right.
it does. And there's no two ways about that. By the way, while I am plenty harsh on any number of you who are Christians and telling people these things, that is the reality too. For you. That, and look, yes, you were jacked up yesterday. Maybe you were jacked up 4 seconds before you started listening to this. That's fine. Good. You
Yeah.
screwed up, right? Go right on back to whatever secular fine, pick yourself up and carry yourself forward that you need to, right? Go back to Paul if you need to. Jesus came to save all sinners, of which I am the worst. Okay, he didn't mean not you. All right, he meant you. He meant me. He meant Tommy. He meant literally everybody. Now I have no idea whether or not God has a tally that says at the bottom, Don Workman is the worst sinner on earth. Maybe. Maybe that is
Perhaps.
the case. But guess what? Even if he doesn't, act like he does. All right. Even if you know you're a good and righteous person, he meant you. Okay. He meant everyone you've ever met, everyone you will ever meet. That's who he meant. You don't have to like that, but that is true. Okay. So stop. No more holier than thou. No more turbo righteousness. No more. Stop. All right. And in the world of actually good news, I will say that as much as there is plenty of the gatekeeping stupid nonsense, there are a lot of people who are sitting down and talking and happily discussing, across their various denominations. Like, hey, I think after this week we can maybe we just march forward to do God things, which by all means, if you are trying to figure out who to be listening to, listen to those people. Okay,
Yeah.
just march forward and do God things. That's it. Are you going to screw up? Boy, is
Oh
this a
my.
spoiler alert! 100% you're going to screw up.
Oh yeah, and that also is fine.
Yeah, you're not Jesus, and you don't have to be.
You're gonna
Okay,
fuck up every day, but it's really cool is after a long enough time you might realize that the fuck ups are less bad or they're less frequent. Or maybe they get worse and they get more frequent. That's fine too. Turn the boat. Doesn't matter what the wake is saying. Turn the boat. Just
exactly.
always be trying.
Oh man, I feel like we have almost beat this to death, and yet I don't even care. Um,
I don't give a shit. Dude, you've known this from early on. I don't give a fuck. Again, our first episode was talking about like meth and Nazis.
yep,
Me,
for
I
for
view that
three
episode,
hours.
I view that episode and this episode the same way. I don't care. I'm enjoying it.
So look,
So I don't fucking
in
give a shit.
in promotion of enjoying it, right? Don't don't waste your time on any of those things, right? Don't if you find yourself yelling at somebody that they're doing it wrong, so are you. Okay, everybody is. So planks in your own eye, probably where you should dedicate your time. Now, for those of you who don't get that scriptural reference, that's fine. For the turbo righteous Christian of the world, you better, right? All right, you're the turbo righteous Christian of the world. You know everything, right? So I assume you get that reference. Now, that said, um, does this mean that you go to your, I don't know, gay friend and are like, well, yeah, God loves you being gay? No. All right. Yes, you can say, hey, look, friend, clearly you are doing things that are incorrect. Um, this doesn't mean that I hate you. This doesn't mean that I'm hoping for you to die and burn in hell. Uh, on the other hand, you could stop being wrong, right? Both things are true. Uh, there is this holier than thou nonsense that goes around that if you can point out somebody else's sin, then you're a good person, right? And that's just not how it is. So, yes, go try and help out your friends. Even if it's hard, have some grace, understand that you are not preaching from some position of perfection. You are, hey man, look, this seems to be making your life hard, and maybe we can make your life a little bit better, right? That's it. That's all you really get to offer. Okay. And some of you are going to be like, Don, but you just told all of those holier than thou Christians to shut the fuck up. I didn't say I was perfect either. All
Mhm.
right. And make no mistake, I'm plenty aggressive in all kinds of circumstances like this. And maybe I shouldn't be, and maybe I should be. And I don't know. I will invariably spend more time on this and everything else because that's how it works. All right.
One thing that's kind of helped me, and we can bring this full circle maybe, is that's I forget I always forget the exact wording of the quote, but it's basically like it's long and I don't literal whatever. It's just it's the point of the quote. It's the theme of it. Like your dog's not in heaven. Somebody goes, you know, if you went somewhere after death and your mom and dad and grandparents and all your friends and everyone was there, that would be pretty cool. But if your dog and then if there's another place that had all that and the dog, you go, oh, that one's heaven. I don't even mean like, don't get autistic about the literal dog. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
My point is whenever for me a big hang up would always be trying to find evidence of God or proof of God. And it took me a long time to realize that if we're understanding it and we're boiling it down, that's not God. That's something in the universe. And you could say, well, that's pretty convenient. So no matter what it is, if we know it, then it's not God. And that's yes, and that's faith. But for me, what would always help with, well, why does God let all this bad happen in the world? I really do think, hey man, free will is like that is the realest game there is. You get to choose. And by the way, it's a very easy choice, just choose God. But like that's what this world is it's free will. Free will to fuck up and free will to do the right thing. And I think what's made sort of really the last 6 years of my life, starting around 6 years ago, you more recent, what the really special thing about it is, I mean, there's a million things, but is that you made the decision. There is
So,
something about that. I don't mean that other people aren't influencing. I get that. There is something about putting the bottle down, not because your friend took it from you, but because you went,
enough. Yeah.
maybe not to that right there. That's the reason for this entire reality is you get to choose. It's God doesn't want puppets. He can make puppets. That's what the entire thing is you get to choose. And it really is. It's just that is you get to choose.
So there's a thing you said in there that I think most aptly demonstrates the hubris of all the things that we do, right? Which is, I want proof, right? I want measurable,
Yeah.
statistically categorizable evidence of God. There are two major things in play in there. What you want is material
Hmm.
evidence of God. You don't want any other evidence of God. You want, how do I pull out a ruler and measure God, right? Not, is there any evidence of God? And the subsequent problem there is that the assumption is we know enough today, societally speaking, that we could measure God. Now, this should be self-evidently false, right? For all of the quantum physics junkies out there who, well, but we know sort of some about quantum physics, right? Because science knows everything, right? Which presumably just means you're going to ask Fauci whether or not there's a God. Your assumption is that we know enough about enough that we could measure God. And I'm not at all convinced that the people who can't tell you anything about anything once you get to the end have any idea of how to measure much of anything. And just ask them, they'll tell you, right? Oh, we don't actually know why this happens. But once you get to the end, once you go and look, man, I've been subscribed to MIT OpenCourseWare, which by the way is very interesting. And if you don't know about it, MIT broadcasts lots of their classes online. Feel free to watch for years. And do you know what the end result of almost all of those classes is? Hey, this is the point where we're stuck.
Hmm.
This is the point where we don't get it anymore.
Hmm.
So you, dear student, could be the one to go out and research the brand new thing that we don't understand. And these are the people who are going to tell you that they know literally everything to your face if you're not in these classes, right? And tell you that like, oh, there's no evidence of God. I mean, there's no evidence of the last 45 things that I said in all of the highest end classes that you can reasonably take. These are all theorems, not in the like, hey, there is a theory and theory of gravity kind of way, but in the like, well, this is how we think it works. We're pretty sure. And by the way, once you get to the end of what we have at the moment, do you know what you find? Basically, some substitution for God. And if you don't believe that's true, go look at dark matter. Right.
And the Big Bang.
Right. It is a substitution for God. Well, we have no idea why it's working like this, but there is this thing that we can't see, we can't measure, we have no idea how it works or why it works, but it's holding the universe together.
So we know
Now,
we don't know what it is, but we know it's 98% of it. Same thing with finding
right?
they can detect planets before they see them because they can tell by the gravitational pull and they can tell you
Yeah,
exactly what the mass and the diameter is.
yeah,
Oh,
right.
okay. Well, what else would it be? I can't. Well, why do we exist at all? Not the science of it, but what is consciousness? What is subjective experience? What is the scanning point of I am?
Oh man.
So it's
The consciousness thing makes me laugh every time, right? Because well, but we know, we get it. It's chemical reactions in the brain. Like,
yeah.
okay, well, so
Do you know how many
can we
fucking
just add or
dreams I've
subtract?
had? Do you know how many fucking dreams I've had where there's been there's some breakthrough and the scientists come out and they're able to explain what consciousness is, and then I wake up and I go, I believe that was real. All right, now
Yeah.
extrapolate. What is this life? But yeah.
Yeah. Can we add or subtract? Can we like can we I don't know, can we make you like pineapple on pizza or hate it based on giving you a pill? No, right? And somebody's going to go like, well, but we did this once in this one study that is non reproducible, and by the way, only was a case study on one guy who got hit in the head with a brick, right, or whatever, right? And okay, if you want to play these edge case games where we have no idea why it worked out the way that it did, but there's some example that's written dishonestly, then go ahead, right? In the end, what are we discussing? Lies. Okay, well, I think we all know what you're doing then, right? Prince of Lies is not an inaccurate title. All right. That's really all it takes. But for those of you who are out there wondering, right? Okay, well, what do we do with all this information? Mostly reflect on your own life.
Mhm.
Okay. And I know it's tiring. I know it is. That's okay. There are good things on the other side. All right. Do the work, put in the effort, and you will find it on the other side. And that's all right. It's all right that you're going to wake up and go, oh my God, I've done this thing wrong for 25 years. Right. That's going to happen. And by the way, it's going to happen no matter who it is that you're listening to. And if you don't believe that, just Google studies on eggs. Okay. Which, yes, this is a little bit self-serving because I sell eggs, but still go Google studies on eggs. That's all you need to do. You don't even need to go to a good search engine. Okay. Just go to Google. And what you will find is that eggs are killing you. You will die from eating one egg. 3 eggs a day is fine. Eggs are probably the best thing that we have ever found for your body, and that the more of them you eat, the better your life is. We have no idea what eggs do. It is entirely possible that eggs are both killing you and prolonging your life, right? These are all actual results
Oh,
of
I know.
studies on
Oh, I
eggs.
know.
So you have no idea, right? You've been doing it wrong for 25 years, no matter what you're doing.
Hmm. And we'll kind of wrap it up with I would say if you really need if that's just what you need to get you going is like the selfish subjective thing, what I would say is above all else, my life is just so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
That's what it relative to you gotta get up, there's still shit you gotta do. It's still I would say in terms of just what's like if I had to just in like if I had 3 seconds to explain what's the difference between before and after letting God in my heart. In general, the level of anxiety it reaches a threshold that it can't go past because I have faith in God. That's what I would say. The thesis, you're still gonna have some anxieties, but there's a ceiling. It
Oh
pops against
man.
the ceiling. And the same way as play a video game, get really stressed out, and then every once in a while you have the moment where you hit pause, you go, oh, fuck, it is just on a TV. This is
Yeah.
actually real. That's what I would say God is for me. Is this life? Is like, oh my God, fucking Charlie Kirk, Ukraine, Russia, is it? Is the same feeling of where you go, boop,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go put some food in the microwave. That feeling of like, oh, it's just a game. It's scary. It's scary. Hold on. We'll just pause. Yeah, wait. Okay, yeah, forgot. Okay, fuck. I got sucked in for a second. That's what I would say God is for me, is to all of reality. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would
And
say is.
and look, I am in no way above saying that I fight plenty with this. I have along the way to now. I live out in the middle of nowhere, and thank God for that, because plenty of times life has gotten particularly hard, particularly shitty. And you know what? I've taken multi-mile walks, standing in the middle, looking up at the sky, screaming, "What the fuck?"
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
And if you find yourself there, Good. First of all, you are bringing your troubles to God. Okay. Now, maybe this isn't the best way. Maybe there are better ways to do this in the future. But today, we are here. Move forward from here. That's it. That's all there is. Yeah, fine. Okay. Somebody is here to tell you that that's wrong and that's terrible. Whatever. Today, you're here. Today, you're standing in the middle of the field, looking up at the sky and screaming until you're hoarse. Okay. I promise you that God can take it. Okay. He can take a lot more than any of the rest of us. That is self evidently true. Look at human history. On the other hand, even if you're stuck there for a long time, even if you are there right now and going, well, this Don, this is never going to end. You're out of your mind. Maybe you're right. Maybe you are. I have no idea what the future holds. But guess what? You are doing the work, even if you're doing it imperfectly, and you are imperfect. So that's how you're going to do the work.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. And two quotes, and then we'll wrap it because I got to hop on another call. Is I forget who the first one is. It's but God is a lot like a sunny day. You can go in a dark apartment. You can. And you can stay in that dark apartment forever. The illusion that you can't walk outside is just an illusion. You can you can walk out in the sun anytime. You really can. It's always there. I think that's what Bill Hicks said, hell is. He goes, it's no, it's just, it's distance from God.
Yeah.
It's just distance. You walk out and you feel the sun, you immediately you go, oh, the sun, the breeze. Yeah, man, hell is your own choice to go away. And the last quote is from Terrence McKenna. And he's like, in terms of God giving you miracles, he's like, who's doubting Thomas, right? He's the one guy, and he doubts it all. He's not, God didn't rise. He's like, there's only one human in all of history that touched the risen corpse of Jesus, not beforehand. There's only one person that ever touched him after he rose, and it's doubting Thomas. And that's God's way of saying, like, here you go, fucker. Here you go. Your nickname's Doubting Thomas. You're also going to be one of one who touched the risen corpse. Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
So you can doubt as much as you want. Keep doubting. It'll, you're going to get the evidence, and the evidence can either come as like a butterfly or it can come as like a hypersonic artillery shell. It's whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's coming. So that's what I'd say, man. Is just, and everybody listening, just try it, dude. You just try it. Legitimately just try it. You can do it in the quiet of your own mind. You don't need to tell anybody. You don't need to ask, am I doing it? Just try it. Legitimately just try it.
Yeah.
And if it's,
I would go so far as to say don't tell anybody, right?
oh, yeah, no, don't.
Uh,
Keep it
when
entirely to yourself.
when I started heading this direction, and to give you an idea of how bad it is permitted to look, and nobody cares. When I started in this direction, a whole lot of my reaching out to God, a whole lot of my conversations with God, were me sitting here in my office, shit faced at
Oh,
2 in the
yeah.
morning,
Oh, yeah.
going, "Well, what the fuck, man?"
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
fine. That's fine. Go for it. Who gives a shit? Did you, did, did mine start on a snowy hill? No, it's when I came back from
Nope.
the hospital and I had marks on my wrists and my ankles because they had used leather straps because
Yeah.
I was fighting. I fully fucking believe in hindsight. I'm like, oh, that was like Satan leaving my body. That was an exorcism. I mean, I'm a strong guy, but I was fighting four nurses and my dad.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, what the fuck is that? It's an exorcism. So that's what I'd say, man. And whoever you are, and yeah, don't tell anyone. You can have your commie Marxist friends. You can whatever. If you feel something, and maybe it took seeing Mr. Kirk being executed. Maybe it took that. I'm sure some people it was seeing JFK or seeing 9/11 or whatever. If you feel something's up, like that's fine. Just start just start moving. And anybody that tells you that you can't start moving, fuck them too. All right?
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
care. I don't
man.
care if it's I don't care if he's wearing priest robes. Fuck that guy too.
Yeah.
Move in the right direction. I promise you it gets better. It really does. It really fucking does. I don't, I don't know what to tell you. So,
Well, I think we've told all we're going to tell for the day. Thanks for having me, brother. It's been some
Yeah,
time.
we'll wrap it up and yeah, man. Yeah. Fine God, it really is. Here it is. What does that mean? It's like a 4chan meme. It goes, life is literally so easy. Have problem. Don't care about problem. Like sunglasses. That's what finding God is to me. It's like life is scary. Yes. God's with you. Cool. That
Yeah.
easy. I have no
All
problem.
too often. And by the way, uh, if you hear that and you think that's not how it works, like, well, maybe not today. You'll get there.
Yeah,
Don't
maybe
worry
not
about it.
today. Yeah. All right, Don. Love you, brother. Thank you for this. This was beautiful. This was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You too, brother. Guys, thank you for watching.